Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to a very happy day for Chef and Beard.
It's the best day.
Thank you for joining us today, Freeview fans. We are Tabletop Tactics. We are bringing you a special show today all about our favorite way to play. Before we get into the goodness, Chef, the goodness.
So much goodness.
Get yourself on that like, hit subscribe, give us a comment because there's lots to talk about today. Head over to our website to see all of the videos that we've ever made. Support us in any way you can. That's that, Chef. Why are we here, please?
Well, we have been sent the mission pack Tempest of War. This is available for pre-order right now. Now, when they say Tempest of War, they mean Maelstrom of War.
It's Maelstrom, baby!
It has returned.
Yes.
And it has basically, okay, so for those of you that have joined us in 9th edition and or parts of 8th edition and never played Maelstrom, Maelstrom was a sort of pseudo deck building kind of game with like random objectives and random missions and all that sort of stuff. So you really exemplified playing your army well rather than building an army and then focusing on 2 or 3 mission objectives, which is very similar to what the GT pack is now. And then 9th edition came along and the Maelstrom sort of went away a bit and it came back in a weird form in a White Dwarf. It was beta. They even said it was beta. They said, look, this is an idea that we've come up with. Feedback, let us know what you think. I certainly fed back and I said, don't like it, don't want it, give me old school.
They also went as far as saying that if needs be, we'll go back to the old version we had in 7th edition.
Yeah, they even
it
said
seems
that.
like they have.
Yeah, to an extent. So basically, Maelstrom of War is my favourite way to play. It's your favourite way to play because there's an element of randomness to it that is structured. It's not as wacky as open play. So a lot of you guys, when we were very excited about this last Sunday, said Maelstrom is back, baby, and you said it's open war. It's not open war at all.
This is not open war.
There are influences. For sure,
yeah.
There's definitely influences, but this is far more structured and far more balanced. Most importantly, it has a deck. And you said something very interesting off camera, which is that this box, also the size of this box.
Yeah, it's
a chunky boy.
It's very nice quality stuff here. The cards have a nice thickness. The box is very sturdy.
And it's large.
It feels good.
Yeah.
It's nice.
But Beard made a very, very interesting point off camera just before we started filming, which is this is very user-friendly. It almost feels the opposite to the GT pack itself.
Yeah, this is a happy video.
Yes.
If anyone saw our GT chapter approved review recently, Chef and Beard weren't very happy about it.
Damn it, G-dubs.
We didn't like it very much. This is quite the opposite. This is a happy day.
Yes.
This is exactly what you and I were looking for.
100%.
It feels like a brand new way to play 9th edition, and it feels like it sort of saved 9th edition for me.
Wow, those are big words.
Yeah, but like I'm just 9th edition's cool, it's good, we love it, but I just want something else. I want another option. I want some crazy stuff to happen. I want an unpredictable game. I don't want to be doing the same thing over and over and over again. So this is a very welcome change.
Yeah, I agree. Change is good. Change we can believe in. Praise be to Zinch. But let's talk about what these things entail in just a sec. So what is in this deck of goodness? Well, it's made up of a bunch of constituent parts to tell you how to play Tempest of War games. So you start off with a nice little pamphlet. It's a little pamphlet. Now, if you've been playing 9th edition a lot, it's very similar in terms of your setup. There's stages, determine mission, read mission briefing. You can only have, it's very match play-esque. You know, reserves can only arrive from turn 2 onwards. Strategic reserves are in play. You can't mix your sub-factions, but there's a few very nice quality of life changes in here. My favorite is you place your own objectives and you can place them in terrain, which means your boards will not look the same in every single matchup.
So good. So good. Why that's not a thing in the general rules, I don't know.
I don't know.
I'd be very happy to see that introduced into every game of 9th edition. Why would an objective be in the middle of the battlefield?
We must go and fetch the data from this terminal. Of course, brother. Tell me, where is it? In the middle of the road. Why? Imperium bureaucracy, I don't know.
I don't know. Where are the rest of them in the other roads?
One of them is outside of a forest.
Yeah, is there nothing in that fortress over there?
No.
Nothing in the bunker?
The data cache? No, that's by a pair of rocks. Is it hidden in the rocks? No. It's just in the middle of the battlefield.
Focus on the roads.
Very good. Yeah. So that already is a great change for me. So what you do is you determine, and this is where there is an open war influence, because you determine your mission, you split it into several decks. You have your deployment deck. There's 6 different deployment types. We'll touch on all of this in a moment. There's mission rules, there's your primary mission, and then you get to your secondary mission decks. Yes, secondary mission decks. And this is why it's really nice, because they could have quite easily gone, here's one secondary mission deck, or you want to play this kind of game, your friend better have one as well.
Yeah. Here's your player pack. Yeah. No, you can do a game of, what's it, not Maelstrom of War, Tempest of War.
Maelstrom of War.
With one box, that's all you need.
Tempest of War, one box.
They could have quite easily not done that, but they did.
So they did, which is very good, because yes, it means you can just sort of take this to your friendly local gaming store or to an event and just go, I've got my deck, we can play a game, which is very, very nice. So there are sort of elements to the open war here in that there's a deck aspect to it, but it would be no different. This is kind of why so to me, there's 6 deployment types, right? Well, what did you do in 8th edition and 7th edition and 6th edition? You rolled a d6 to determine your deployment map. Oh, same thing. And the mission rules we'll all touch on in a moment as well. So when you're placing your objective markers, and here's another really cool thing, they give you objective markers.
That's handy dandy, isn't it?
Like quite thick card as well, which is good. So nice and robust, nice and large, 40 mils. So you don't, again, it's all in the box. Which is great.
This is all very unusual. It feels like I'm missing something here.
Yeah, I know. It feels like I'm waiting for something to be like, no. And here's I mean, there's a few little oddities. Again, the sort of the open war rearing its head here. So when you're placing objective markers, you start with the youngest player. That's a bit weird to me.
Bit odd.
But you could quite easily house rule that to just roll that into the attacker defender roll off, or just roll off.
Yeah. It also means if you play with the same person regularly, they're
always going to place the first one. But that's not necessarily a big deal, because you place 5 objective markers in a strike force mission.
Yeah.
You can place them anywhere on the battlefield with certain restrictions, as you'd expect. 6 inches from a battlefield edge, 9 inches from each other. But one objective marker must be placed within each deployment zone. So you generate those beforehand, so you know exactly where to place it. The remaining must be placed within no man's land. So you're always going to have, depending on your map, you're always generally going to have 3 of them to fight over and 1 to each defend. But you have the beauty of placing them wherever you want within those limitations of 9 inches away from each other. So every game has the potential to be very different, which is what I really enjoy about the Maelstrom and now the Tempest of War.
How many times in the past, board set up, and you're sort of starting to forge a narrative of it, and you're going to be like, I'm going to put my objective here because of this, because this thing's in here, or I'm on this side of the board, I'm a Space Marine, and I've got my terminal in this building, I feel like I'm going to put it there, and it just adds to, it just gives you so much more of a story to the game, which is cool. But along with the story element, this is for match play.
Yeah.
So
this is a matched play. Like, this is what I mean. It's a marry of matched play and open war, but with a much greater sort of semblance of balance to it. So we've done a couple.
You said the B word.
I said the B word.
Naughty, naughty.
Dangerous. 40k is not a balanced game. But so we've done a couple of open war games before, and there's a lot of weird stuff in there where it's just like everyone is -1 to hit with shooting, and you kind of go, cool, against custodians that's not really a big deal, but against guard or orcs, they may as well just not bother playing.
Yeah.
You don't get any of that kind of level of weirdness in here.
Can you hear that?
What?
Not the clacking of keys.
Oh no, I'm sure there
Fingers.
is. I'm sure there will be, but not for me because
I can already feel the angry comments flowing away from this realm. It's good.
So we're already off to a good start. They've given you everything that you need to play. It's nice and simple, but familiar if you've been playing it. Let's have a look at what those deployment types are.
And lo, the first set of cards cometh. Here we go. These are the deployment ones.
6 types.
Shuffleophagus.
Okay.
Shuffle them up.
We're gonna draw up a mission for you live because why not? Because that seems fun.
Done a little shuffle. R1 today's chef is Hammer and Anvil. And this is why it's quite convenient to have these cards so long. Because you managed to fit in the entirety of the deployment.
Yeah.
The other thing that's quite nice on here, this will give you the measurements if you're playing Incursion or Strike Force. So depending on your points limit, all of the measurements are conveniently on here.
How handy.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
Isn't that nice?
It's useful.
Yeah. So there's 6 of these. You've also got the Crucible of Battle.
The Crucible of Battle.
And these should be coming up as we speak.
You'll see them apart from one
of them.
maybe, because I don't know if we've got the... You might see it, you might not. Depends how quickly we can get something edited up.
Yes, we're time poor at the moment. We have Dawn of War, a classic. You could say a classic. Spearhead Assault. This is one we were just talking about.
Yes.
This is one that isn't
An
currently
oddity.
In 9th edition.
No,
something completely new.
that is really, really out
that
there.
nice?
And that is a weird deployment map.
Crazy. It looks a little bit like a bow tie. Fancy.
I mean, we could like put on a bit of like elastic cord to that, and you could wear that in game.
Maybe that could be a special mission if we draw Spearhead Assault. You have Search and Destroy as well, which is sort of like the 9-inch bubble in the middle, and then the quarters.
Your quarters, yep.
You have Sweeping Engagement,
which is your long diagonal one, very sort of data intercept, data scry salvage.
And then I think I've already said Hammer and Anvil.
Well, we just drew Hammer and Anvil.
Hammer and Anvil was the one that we drew. That's what it is. So Hammer and Anvil. That's the first thing we've done to create our game chef.
Yeah. So you've already got your 6 different missions.
I'm so happy.
Well, it's just you get to do stuff rather than going, I'm playing this mission. Like you generate your mission. It's no different to what it was in earlier editions where you would create the mission as you went. So already I can see people looking at this going like, but how am I going to know where to deploy? I don't even know what the mission is yet, and you've only told me the deployment. That is the point. You as a good general will have to react to the ebb and the flow of the battlefield, which rolls in nicely to the mission rules. The next deck which you draw from is the mission rules. So there's 12 of these. As I mentioned, they're not quite as weird as the Open War, and a lot of them are reprints or very similar to ones in the GT mission pack. So again, for people that don't like the Open War weirdness, it's kind of stuff that you're already used to, but it's just not set to a particular mission. So you've got a lot of variety. So again, we're just going to do a quick little shuffle. Warp Lightning Storms. It's your favourite. I mean, so this is one of the. This is like literally the one weird one.
I would have made it weird. It's not that weird.
You would have made it really weird.
Yeah.
So in this mission, at the start of every psychic phase, each player must roll 1d6 for each of their units that was within range of 1 or more objective markers, and on a 1, the unit suffers 1 mortal wound. It's hardly game changing. It's hardly game breaking.
It's not great.
It's kind of like, they could have gone, everyone, if you're within range of an objective, takes D3 mortal wounds every psychic phase. You'd be like, that's what you would have done.
I would have done.
Yeah, you'd have gone.
Well, I would have done it on a 2+.
Oh, okay, you may as well. But like, so there's a few other ones, like, Scrambler Fields, you can't go into no man's land.
I like that one.
It's, again, it exists in a GT pack.
Also, I think that one also means that you can't deep strike onto an objective.
Yeah, so if a unit from a player's army has a pre-battle rule that allows it to be set up anywhere on the battlefield, move before the first turn begins, redeploy, or arrive from reinforcements, they can't be set up within range of an objective marker that is in no man's land or their opponent's deployment zone. So it's similar to one in the GT mission pack, but it basically just means that, you can go into the mid board, but if you draw that, because bear in mind, you've not placed the objectives when you've drawn these yet.
Yep.
So you can use that to your advantage. You go, well, I know my opponent has stealth suits. Oh, I'll put that right in the middle. Up, where are you going? Like, they can still be very close to it, but they're not on it turn one. So and likewise, it also gives you a buffer in your zone. It's not like a massive 12-inch bubble. It's just you can't go, turn like the last sort of, chance of the game. I'm going to redeploy this unit with my Veil of Darkness onto your objective and win the game. Can't do it.
Yeah.
So it's little things like that makes a difference. There is literally one here, which is in this mission, no additional rules apply. So you can just play it like that if you want to reduce. You can just not use this deck if you wanted to make it simpler.
You could house rule it.
You only get the Battleforge CP bonus if your Warlord is on the battlefield or on a transport that's on the battlefield. Oh, that exists in the GT packs.
These aren't crazy game-breaking mechanics here. These are just giving a bit of variety.
Yep.
You've still got your familiarity with your normal games in 9th edition.
Yep.
It's just something a little bit different.
Yeah, something a little bit different. Some of them are a bit more game-changing, I would say. So again, old school Deep Strike players. You remember how you had to roll to arrive back in like 7th edition from reserves? Yeah, delayed reserves is a thing. You got to roll a 3+ to arrive, otherwise you don't arrive that turn.
Crazy.
Until turn 3, and then you arrive. But So.
But again, I think that's another example of how they've made this fit into 9th edition, because like massive deep striking armies aren't that prevalent at the moment. So there's nothing in here that's really going to bust anything up. No. So I think there has been some good thought put into this.
My favourite, Vox Static. In this mission, CP reroll costs 2.
Lol.
Good. Stupid CP
Leave
reroll.
your Autark in your cabinet.
So there's, like Beard says, there's nothing like massively game-changing in here. It's just to add a little bit of extra flavour, but it's not as wacky as your open war cards.
Yeah.
But there's a few additional things on top of like your GT thing, sort of missions. Yeah. Again, nothing is out of the realms of what you've kind of seen before in some capacity. So yeah, nice little bit of extra flavor. And then we get to the missions themselves.
The primary mission. 6 of them.
Okay.
Diddle diddle. Give them a little shuffle, shall I?
Little shuffle,
Little shoe
doing
flay.
it live.
We have, for our mission today, Vital Ground.
Okay.
So, in Vital Ground, in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th battle rounds at the end of each player's command phase, the players whose turn it is scores victory points as follows. If they control the objective market in their own deployment, they score 3 points. If they control 1 or more objectives in no man's land, they score 4 points. If they control the objective in their opponent's deployment zone, they score 5 victory points. And in the 5th battle round, I like how this is laid out as well. The player who has the first turn scores victory points at the end of their command phase as described above for each of the above conditions that satisfy. The player who has the second turn scores victory points at the end of their turn as described above for each of the above conditions they satisfy. In every battle round, at the end of each battle round, each player scores 1 victory point for each enemy unit that was destroyed during that battle round to a maximum of 3 victory points per player per battle round.
Sounds very similar to some GT packs, right? You're getting points for killing stuff there.
Yeah.
You're getting, sure, okay, they are based on the one's particular objectives rather than any objective.
Yeah.
But again, already some armies will be like, but I'm super aggressive. I don't want to have to keep back to hold victory points. Well, then you're going to give up 3 victory points.
Yep.
This follows the same pattern as your GT packs. It's 45 max for a primary, 45 for your secondaries. So yeah, you don't have to. You don't have to hold your home objective if you don't want to, but then you're giving it up for your opponents to go, well, if I go near that, I will get a cheeky 5 on that.
Yeah.
So it's all very similar, but with little tweaks.
Yep.
You got 5 more to look at. We're gonna play this a lot, guys, so they will all come up.
Yeah,
but suffice it to say, they're all sort of similar. So take and hold is like your bog standard one, control 1, control 2, control more. That's it. It's 5 victory points each time. This is nothing really new, but it's little tweaks to the formula. So as we've already established, the Vital Ground, the difference between Vital Ground and Take and Hold is only 1 or 2 victory points here or there. But because it's based around parts of the battlefield specifically, that already changes up your game plan.
Yeah.
Which is massive. But, and this is the kicker, is secondary mission time. It's the best bit.
Cool, baby!
Do you have your secondary objective deck?
I do have my secondary objective deck.
That's nice.
But we've only got one box.
That seems a bit user-friendly.
That's crazy.
Seems almost...
And they've got like different colours and stuff, so you can easily tell them apart.
You won't get them confused when you put them back in the box together.
Good grief.
So they're both identical. They're both 20 cards in a deck. You shuffle these pre-game.
Shuffle them.
Shuffle.
Them up. Can't shuffle cards very well.
No, it's fine. I don't want to ruin them. These have got to last us the test of time.
Yeah, this is... Oh, they're thick.
So what you do is you draw 3 of these cards in your command phase. So at the start of your command phase, you draw up to 3. You can keep as many of those as you want in your hand, but you do reveal them. So here are mine, Beard. I've got behind enemy lines, hold the line, and raise banner.
Okay, you like raising a banner, don't you?
I do like raising a banner.
Treat.
You'll notice that behind enemy lines and raise banner sound very similar to some GT secondaries.
They do.
Incidentally, they're pretty much identical.
Oh my goodness.
To the GT secondaries.
That's crazy.
But here's the difference. So raise banner, I'll just read out raise banner. So if when this secondary mission is generated, there are no infantry units or units with the objective secured ability remaining in your army, you discard this secondary mission and generate a new one. It's almost as if they've accounted for the fact that sometimes these will be impossible to achieve, which would make it kind of feel bad if you drew those cards. Which is one of the main complaints about Maelstrom in 8th edition was, how am I meant to cast a psychic power with my Tau army?
Yeah.
And then they introduced ways to get rid of the cards, right? But regardless, this secondary mission is achieved when a unit from your army completes the raise banner action. One unit from your army that has either the infantry keyword or the objective secured keyword. So if you somehow give a unit OBSEC, even if they're not infantry, they can raise a banner, which is nice. You can start performing this action at the end of your movement phase if it is within range of an objective marker in no man's land that you control. The action is completed at the end of your turn, provided the unit performing it is still within range of the same objective marker.
Nice.
That's it.
It's reasonable.
Once you have completed a secondary objective, unless it tells you otherwise on your card, you score 5 points on the secondary, and then you discard the objective, which means, but I really like raise the banner, and I would take raise the banner, and I know that I would get it every single turn and max out. Doesn't matter.
The tides of battle change every turn.
You must adapt, improvise, and overcome.
Yeah. Bear Grylls, baby.
Bear Grylls indeed. So then I've got things like hold the line behind enemy lines. Let's say I draw these turn 1 and I go, I'm not going to achieve those this turn. I'm just going to discard them at the end of my turn so that in my next turn I can draw another 3. But what did you get, Beard?
Well, I got Deploy, Teleport, Homer. I got Blood and Guts, and I got No Retreat, No Surrender.
Oh.
So 2 of those sound quite similar. One of them is all new.
Okay.
Isn't that fun? So for No Retreat, No Surrender, we'll cover that now. So I achieve this at the end of my opponent's next turn.
Right.
I know, right? Or at the end of the battle, whichever happens first.
Sure.
Provided all the following statements are true. No unit from your army failed a morale test during that battle round. No unit from your army made a fallback move during the battle round. And no unit from your army that started a normal move or an advanced move within range of an objective marker at the end of your turn in this battle round ended that move out of range of that objective marker.
Sounds kind of like Oaths of Moment, doesn't it?
Little bit. Yeah.
A little bit.
Now, when I first saw that, I was like, oh, man, that's gonna be difficult to get all the time. It's just for one turn.
It's one turn. You don't like it.
One turn.
Don't like it, discard it.
One turn.
And if you do get it, you get your points. And then, once again, the ebb and flow of battle will change and you must adapt your tactics.
Yes. Yeah. Blood and Guts. Blood and Guts is weird.
If tenterhooks.
If when this secondary mission is first drawn, oh, hang on. While this secondary mission is active, I should start at the beginning, shouldn't I? I was trying to get the gist of it by missing out the first paragraph. Keep a Blood and Guts tally.
Okay.
We're going to keep a tally.
We like a tally.
Each time an enemy unit that is destroyed by a melee attack made by a model in your army, add 1 to your Blood and Guts tally. I feel like I should have some kind of necklace of teeth or something.
See, I went for a whiteboard so you could mark your tally. You're just like, no, I want a trophy for my enemy. Right, okay.
This secondary mission is achieved once your Blood and Guts tally reaches a certain number, and that is as follows. For Incursion, it's 2. For Strike Force, it's 3.
Okay.
And that's kind of it.
So basically, if you kill 3 units in melee in a Strike Force game, you get 5 victory points.
Yes.
If you don't get it.
Yes.
So because all of these are achieved at the end of your turn unless they say otherwise. They generally all tell you on the cards when they're achieved. So I'm going to take another random one here. a tempting target.
Oh, tempting, is it?
It's tempting.
Tantalizing.
When this secondary mission is generated, your opponent identifies one objective marker in no man's land. This secondary mission is achieved at the end of your turn if you control that objective marker. That's it. 5 victory points. If you don't achieve it, that turn. So that's the thing. So let's say I play that card. I've drawn that one and you go, right, well, I'm going to pick that one in the middle. I'm nowhere near it this turn. But next turn, I'll definitely be able to get to it. So I'll keep hold of it at the end of my turn. Yeah. But that is then sacrificing the potential for drawing something else which I could score. So you got to make some tactical decisions. Yeah. This is my favorite part about Maelstrom or Schemes of War, whatever you want to call it, is the decision making that you have to do with your objectives. Now, because you know that there's 20 cards in the deck, because they're always going to be the same 20 cards, you can know roughly what cards you have yet to see. Now, obviously, as the game goes on, you have less cards in your deck. So you go, right, well, the chances are, but it's a 5-turn game. 5 of those objectives you're never going to see unless you sort of really, really go for the mulligan for them. There is a stratagem that both players get access to for 1 CP, which allows you to do what bit?
So it's called New Orders. Use it at the end of your command phase. You select 1 secondary mission and discard it. You can just generate a new one.
Cool. So, all right, let's use the examples that I had. I had raise banner behind enemy lines and hold the line. Well, behind enemy lines is a secondary mission that is achieved at the end of your turn if 2 or more units from my army, excluding aircraft, are wholly within my opponent's deployment zone. If I've only got 1 unit remaining to do this, then I get 2 points instead of the 5. Yeah. But you know what? I've not got anything to do that turn 1, but I can't risk losing that lead. So I'm going to spend a CP, I'm going to discard that one, I'm going to draw another one, and I get a tempting target.
Oh, how tempting!
Beard, which of the objectives in the middle of no man's land would you like me to go and achieve?
I want you to do that one over there, please.
But I'm still nowhere near it. But you know what? I will be next turn, so I'm going to keep hold of that. Unfortunately, in this turn, I didn't achieve hold the line for whatever reason. Oh, this secondary mission is achieved at the end of your opponent's next turn or at the end of the battle, provided that there are no enemy units within range of your own deployment zone. 6 inches in a Strike Force mission. Yes. You're playing Demons of Nurgle, so you're super slow. Yes. So you know what? I'll keep hold of that one.
Plod, plod, plod.
And you try and plod your way along. You can't do it, and then I get points. So each of the objectives tells you what and when and how to achieve it. They're all worth 5 victory points, unless I say otherwise. And that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
The other thing I really love, so one of my ones was deploy teleport Homer. This is exactly the kind of secondary that no one ever takes in 9th edition because it's so hard to achieve. But this example is why you take a nice balanced army.
Yep.
So you can achieve all of these objectives across the whole of the game.
Yeah, and this
is like with teleport Homer, I'm like, well, I could probably do that once. I'm going to get 4 points for the teleport Homers, so I'm not going to take it.
Yeah. Unless I've built my army around doing so.
Yeah.
You know, say, retrieve Nachman data.
Yeah.
Everyone has a unit of 5 things, which is going to do retrieve Nachman data, and then I've got a unit in Deep Strike, which is going to do it, and then I've got a unit which is in Strategic Reserve, which is going to do it, and I'm going to get 8 victory points for it. Blah. Every game, every time.
Yeah.
You know, things like Jakari, I'm going to take Herd the Prey.
Yeah.
You know, Custody is going, I'm going to take Stranglehold or Stand Vigil every single game.
Yeah.
It's stale.
Yeah.
It's boring.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Like, and
when that's the only option you've got.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, no one's doing the missions from the core rulebook anymore.
Yeah.
Everyone's doing the GT mission pack.
Which is fine because they are more updated and there is more of them and they are generally better balanced, especially for the second player.
Yeah.
So I don't have an issue with that. But the concern, or not the concern, the problem that I have from my personal experience with the GT packs is you kind of get stuck in a rut.
Yeah.
You go, it's this mission, it's this, I'm going to take these objectives. I'm playing with this army in this particular style, I'm going to take that, On this kind of map, I'm only going to take this. I'm never going to look at this secondary. I'm never going to look at that secondary. Why would I ever take raise the banners when there's only 4 objectives, And it's just, you kind of, it does start to feel a little bit stale. Is it more balanced than this because it's more structured? Sure.
Yeah.
But I don't know whether that makes it better because, again, in my opinion, I feel like this makes you a better general.
I 100% agree, and I've been saying this for ages. Like with our Frankenstein Maelstrom we've been doing in 9th edition so far, it always feels like I need to be thinking more than I am with a normal game with the GT mission, because I know what's going to happen. I know really what my opponent's going to do, because it's the same sort of thing with a particular army with every mission.
I know what secondaries you've got.
Yeah.
I know what I can do to deny them.
Yeah.
Then you might go into your next turn and I'd be like, oh, well, I know that he's got like Raise the Banner somewhere in his deck and we're running low on it, so I'm going to run this unit out into the only objective that he could get near to try and deny him. And then you go, oh, overwhelming firepower, best kill that unit out in the opener. And I go, no, because I've made a tactical misstep. Yeah. But you obviously were probably then thinking, I hope I don't get Raise the Banner. Yeah. You know, so that you've got to react to the flow of the battle. And you do have to do that in the GT packs. Of course you do. You do have to react to your opponent moved there and you weren't anticipating it, or your opponent picked that secondary and you go, oh, that's an interesting choice, wasn't expecting that. Or you have a whiffer, or your opponent has a whiffer and then you can capitalize. It's exactly the same, but because the objectives themselves are random, and the map is random, and the mission is going to be different because your objective placement is going to be different. It's you have to react every single game, and every single game is going to be different in some capacity. I mean, they say on the back that can be used to generate thousands of different incursion or strike force missions. I don't know about thousands. It depends what they're talking about in terms of numbers. 9,000? Probably not. Like a couple of hundred different variations. Yeah, absolutely. And that's before you even get into the secondaries. Yeah, you're not going to have the same game twice. No. Really, that's not going to happen. You get a tremendous amount of variety in every single game of Tempest of War that you're going to play. It's going to keep things fresh. It's going to be probably less one-sided than the GT missions can be. And I think that to an extent. Yeah, to an extent. There's still, I mean, does this fix the problems of Tau being undercosted and overtuned and Custodes being this and this being that? No, it doesn't. But what it does mean, and you touched upon this, was you've got to build a more balanced army. Yeah. You can't be like, I'm going to run 70 racks. Yeah. You know, or 140 of this, or I'm going to run 9 Void Weavers. Yep. Because, I mean, you probably still would if you were competitively minded, because Void Weavers are very good. But the point is if you want to do those kinds of armies, you're potentially giving up some of those secondaries, because you don't have that choice of going, well, I know that I can, fall back on this secondary. Yeah. It's like, Marine players, Are you ever not realistically taking Oaths of Moment? Of course. So Drukhari players, are you ever really not taking Herd the Prey? Stuff like that. So because everyone is on the same playing field as well in that regard, the sister secondaries, they're cute, but they're not Herd the Prey. They're not a deadly performance, they're not stuff like that. So that is already a balancing fact. As we mentioned, the mission rules change things up without being too strong for one, too strong for another. Yes, if you're going for, say, a drop pod heavy army, or, a Blood Angels army that's focused entirely on deep striking, or you go, I've put half of my army in the webway, and you draw you got to roll a 3+ to bring them out of strategic reserves. Okay. But you know that before you put them into reserves. Yeah. You know that beforehand. Or just pick a different one. This is the beauty of it. You don't even have to use those, really. They're probably more fun. I think. It'd be more fun. I think even just going the deployment and the mission combinations, because you've got 6 missions, 6 deployment maps, plus the placement of objectives, that alone is going to give you dozens of different play styles and sort of game setups. Yeah. And again, that's before you even get into the secondaries and shuffling the cards and things like that. So yeah, I think this is a really, really good way of playing the game. It's quicker as well. To set up a game, it's faster. Yeah, deploy. I don't need my codex. I don't need my codex! Well, apart from, in terms of setting the game up. I don't have to, secondaries, I need to get my GT mission pack. Maybe I'll choose one of the ones from my codex. It's all here. It's all here. It's great. And again, it's very user-friendly. If you go, I want to play, but I forgot my objectives, and your friend's just like, don't worry, I've got Tempest of War. Don't worry, I've got my pack right here. It's it's all here. Yeah. And if you're not if you weren't a fan of Maelstrom or anything like that, I honestly suggest giving this a go. 100%. Because it is a lot more balanced than the schemes of war and the Maelstrom of War, especially for the people that were because I saw a lot of people sort of saying with Maelstrom of War, I didn't like Maelstrom of War, it's too random. I mean, one, we're playing a dice game, guys. But that was accounting for things like the army-specific secondaries, or the time when here is your 36 cards and that's it, and you drew Abhor the Witch, kill a Psyker, and you're playing against Necrons, and you go, great, what a waste of time. But they never played Schemes of War, which was specifically designed to go, you can create your own deck. There's no secondaries in here which are kill a Psyker. There's no secondaries in here which are kill an aircraft. Which I did like about the Schemes of War, because you could tailor your deck to what your opponent had. But these are all, like I say, they're all quite familiar to the GT secondaries in some capacity. There's a few sort of oddities here, like Defend Stronghold. This secondary mission is achieved at the end of your opponent's next turn or at the end of the battle, whichever happens first. So again, you're not at a disadvantage if you go second and you draw that on the last turn. But you achieve it if you control the objective marker in your own deployment zone. It cannot be achieved during the first battle round. If you generate this secondary mission during the first battle round, generate a new secondary mission, shuffle this one back into your mission deck. So you don't have an inherent advantage for getting that turn 1. You don't have an inherent disadvantage for getting it turn 2. It's different to some of the GT secondaries we've seen, but it's not exactly outlandish. No. It's not exactly esoteric. No. It's not weird. It's not janky. It's something that you would probably be wanting to do anyway. Yeah,
there's no armies that are going to be inherently punished by playing Tempest of War.
Well, here's where I disagree.
Oh.
The armies that will be inherently punished are the ones that rely on one game plan.
Sure.
Because they aren't a balanced army in terms of the army construction.
Sure, but I think if you made like a balanced list for any faction, I don't think there's any that are going to really suffer. If you got like a Psyker heavy army like Thousand Suns, they're going to be as capable as doing something weird like Gene Stealer Cult or Space Marines. This kind of there's nothing crazy in here that's going to bust the game for anyone, really. It's just some extra variety. It makes every turn fresh. It makes the game feel fresh. And it's just really fun. Really fun.
If you're a big like GT player, you know, are we going to see this incorporated into like GT events? You know, is the LVO going to suddenly switch this? No, of course not. You know, are the Warhammer World Tournaments suddenly going to switch to this? No. Are they going to run Tempest of War events? I certainly hope so, because I'll definitely attend.
A Tempest of War event would be so much fun. I think I've said it before, there's so many people that will probably like to go to a big event like that, but are put off by the high competitive nature of those sorts of events. Most of the time you're going to have an amazing time anyway. It's just the perception of what it may be like. If there was an event that was focused around this, it's still, in my opinion, a very tactical game. You've got to think beyond what you do in a GT mission, in my opinion. You've got to switch tactics every single turn. You have to have a balanced list, and you have to make it work throughout 20 different possibilities across 5 turns.
And that's before you've even gotten to your deployment. Before you've even gotten to your primary mission. Before you've even gotten to the stage where you're deploying your objectives. Look, I think this is a knock out of the park. This is a home run, a 180, a Bobby Dazzler. This is a big winner for me. I'm very, very, very happy with this.
And what's really weird is there's been no fanfare for this whatsoever. It's odd.
I mean, unless, so we filmed this like the day after the sort of the announcement for it. So unless they're going to do like a really big thing on it midweek, I don't know. I really hope so, because I think
we're doing one.
I think there's such a market for this.
Oh, big time.
Like not everyone plays competitively. Not everyone plays narratively. Some people just like to play casually, pick up games. They like to play the GT missions. You know, they like to play with a competitive lean, but not hardcore. Some people just like to roll dice and drink beer and eat pretzels.
I do.
This is the perfect way of doing that. Like Beard says, it's all in the box. You don't have to refer to this book or this pack or this. It's here. It's ready to go. It will take less time to set. What's the number one complaint about playing 40k? Everything takes too long. And how much of that time is spent setting up a game? a long time.
Big bit. Big bit.
So just going draw card, draw card, draw card, done.
Yeah.
That's it. Right,
Yeah.
cool. We can deploy our objectives, we can get on. It's just going to make, like I'm literally just going to keep saying it. It's just going to make the game more fun.
And it's also, for me personally, going to make GT missions more fun because I'm not playing them all the time.
Yeah.
It's just it's another way to play. So when I'm doing my focused competitive games, that's what that is. And then when I'm playing non-competitive games, there's this. It's not just the same thing over and over and over again. There's just now variety again, and it's just good. It's really good. They've done such a good job with this. It's great. I didn't like the White Dwarf. It was too complicated. There was too much paperwork.
It was way too much paperwork. Like
this, it's simple. It's simple. And yes, there's going to be compromises here and there. Some people, like, we really love Schemes of War. We think it's brilliant. So I guess you might argue that maybe some of the flavor's lost a little bit because you haven't got any faction-specific stuff, but that's where you can then forge a narrative yourself with your opponent, and you can then build that into the game as you play it.
Well, our Frankenstein Maelstrom, we never had the
Frankenstrom.
Ooh, nice. We never had the faction-specific ones in there, and they were some of the best games of 40k that I think we've had.
Yeah.
In my personal opinion, this isn't going to be for everyone. Just like the GT packs aren't going to be for everyone.
But
give it a go.
Give it a go, because you may not think it's going to be for you, but after a couple of games, we think you'll actually really love it. It's great.
Yeah, I think it hits all the targets. It will hit the narrative people because they've got the ability to do, they can forge their own narrative in the game themselves. It will hit the sort of the casual and the pickup crowd because it's easy, and it will hit I think a market in the competitive scene, because this is a completely different set of tactics that you're going to need to use. Like I say, is this going to be picked up by the LVO? Is a Nova or the LGT suddenly going to start doing this for all the games? No, but I would love to see them have a section for it. I would love to see LVO go, yep, cool, here's our GT, this is the ITC champions, you want to do the GT packs, there you go. Here's our Tempest of War champions tables. Great. I will go to LVO and play that.
Oh yeah.
And
I don't see it as it being like a less competitive version. In my opinion, it's more competitive because you've got to think more. You have to have a more balanced army. You have to be a better general. You're not just relying on finding the most busted units in the most busted codex to win events. You've got to have a nice balance to do all sorts of different things. You've got to have a penknife rather than a nuclear bomb.
Yes.
Or a nuclear penknife. If you're particularly adept.
I mean, am I stabbed or do I explode?
No, I'm just stabbing
the air.
A metaphor.
Okay, very good.
Theatrics.
Let us know what you guys think in the comments below.
We're excited.
I am very much looking forward to doing this. There will be many games played with this. You will see plenty of them here on Freeview and over on demand. But yeah, look, I need to stop gushing because I'm very excited, and I will save my excitement for the new Tempest of War games.
And get ready for that very soon. So many. We'll see you next time.